What's up guys, Matty Ice here. Today we are going to be reviewing another Harbor Freight product. How about that? As you might have seen in the past, I reviewed the Pittsburgh adjustable tubing cutter. Now this cuts anything from, I don't know, like a 1/2 inch all the way up to like 1 and like 1/8 or something of that nature. Very versatile. However, being a traditional tubing cutter, you do have to adjust it. It is not self-adjusting. Now, you might say, yeah, but if I bought a self-adjusting cutter, I would have to go with a fixed size, say 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch are probably the most common here in the US. And those can only be used on those applications. What if I have a 1 inch pipe? What if I have an odd size, like a 3/8 or something that's in between? Well, that's why you would buy an adjustable cutter. You lose quite a bit of speed and efficiency by buying one of these cutters. So you have to put this on your pipe, adjust it till it's snug, and then begin working it around your pipe to cut. Issue being, every 3 to 5 turns, you have to slowly close in this cutting blade on your pipe. So you might turn it and then feel it start to get loose, and then you bring it down a little bit, turn some more. This is incredibly inefficient, especially for people who are working on standard sizes where they sell a self-adjusting cutter. So I had to recently take out approximately 30 feet worth of copper tubing out of my house because we had a leaky valve. We had 3 leaky valves actually, and then I noticed taking that out that I had an elbow that had a small leak in it, and then a couple of the other elbows didn't look great, and then the bathroom that's connected downstairs also had some valves that were going to be problematic. So instead of letting it go and just fixing what needed to be fixed, I preemptively replaced the entire line system with PEX, which if you're not using PEX, I use PEX B by the way, which uses clamp crimp style. Those are amazing. So much faster than sweating and working with copper in general, because copper, although it has that rigidity and it's much more strong along the run, PEX is just as flexible and strong, and honestly it's more resistant to freezing and bursting. So I got tired because I had to make all these crazy cuts. I'll show you guys a picture of my pile here. All right guys, so there's a pile of my cuts, and as you can see, that's a 1-gallon jug right there for reference. You guys can get some concept of scale, but there was a lot of angles I had to work with and stuff that was in walls, and then there was crust on some of these things. So I was kind of in a rough spot, and I was trying to use my adjustable mini tubing cutter, and it just was not making the cut. I really was struggling, and I was at the point where I wanted to get my job max out or even like a hacksaw. So as you saw, lots of cuts, and that's all standard size Schedule M, 1/2 inch. There might be some L mixed in there, but it's all 1/2 inch stuff. So I said to myself, you know what? Most of the pipe in my house is 1/2 inch and 3/4. There's some larger stuff, but I'm not going to mess with that right now. And if I do, cross that bridge when I come to it. So I ran out to Harbor Freight and purchased myself the Pittsburgh tubing cutter 1/2 inch. And as you can see, it's already used because I used it already. And it's this little red disc right here that has a cutting wheel right there. And then there's the the rollers right there. And as it says on here, it's a easy tube cutter, easy to use because you just clip it on and rotate. There's no adjustment needed, and hard to reach areas. It's compact, it'll slide in there. It's honestly about the same space as this. It's actually a little bit more compact in some ways, but it's about the same area as the adjustable mini. Self-adjusting, it's a burr-free cut. That's mostly true, a couple of burrs, so you still will need to obviously prep your pipes if you're going to be reusing them. I was just looking to strip out and then replace. And then the overall dimensions of this are 2 1/8 inches in diameter, 1 inch thick, so that's this way, and 5/8 inside diameter, and it has a 3/4 inch style opening. So lifetime warranty as well from Harbor Freight. This cost approximately $6.99 when I purchased it. It's honestly the same price as the adjustable cutter. Automatic adjustment, and as you can see there, it's got arrows. Now, being this is self-adjusting, you do have to rotate it in the correct direction. If you go the opposite way, it's not going to adjust. And you could probably damage it by doing that in the wrong direction, but honestly, you just slip it on and twist. I was absolutely floored at how fast this thing was at cutting. Compared to the adjustable, as you saw in my previous review of the adjustable one that came out earlier this year, that took like 20 passes to get something cut, so not ideal. This thing was less than 10 passes to get most pipes cut, and I believe a couple of them were like 6 passes. So let's give you guys a side-by-side demo and show you how efficient this is compared to an adjustable cutter. Okay guys, so here we are set up with a piece of our Schedule M copper pipe, and I'm going to show you the speed of these cutting tools. So as you guys remember, with your adjustable, you adjust, set in this little cradle in here, and then you just clamp down until it's snug. Okay, and then from there, all you start doing is turning. So we'll do, that's 1 turn, 2 turns, okay, I have no idea how many it was because I stopped counting at a certain point in time because I got confused, but I'd have to imagine, I'll put the number on the video after I go back and count the revolutions. I have to imagine that was like 30 passes. That was super slow. That took a long time, and as you saw, I kept having to stop, and this is not a very clean cut. There's quite a bit of burr that I can see on there. So not super impressed with the adjustable, and I think even after only using this for 5 or 6 times, I think the cutting wheel is starting to lose some of its cutting ability. That's not what I would expect out of a tool like this. It should be able to keep cutting for quite a long while. Copper is a fairly soft metal compared to steel or carbide, whatever that cutting edge is made out of. Okay, now for this one. This one, literally all you do is pick your point that you're going to make your cut and slide it on, that's it. Now, our directional arrows show this way, so we can't turn this way, we have to turn clockwise. Counterclockwise will not do any cutting action, so we'll see how many this takes. So, there is 1, 2, 3. That was 3 and a half, 3 1/4. I don't know. That was that fast. I did nothing to increase the speed at which this cuts. And this cut, again, it's not perfect. There's a little bit of a burr right here that I would have to take off. And as you can see, we've got a little bit of an unevenness here. Partially due to the fact that this is an old corroded pipe and it's got crap all over it. I could have cleaned it up before cutting it and made it a much better cut, but I've cut probably 28 different sections of copper pipe with this so far, and it's still cutting as darn fast as it did as when I opened it up the other day. Okay, just to show you guys, that's not a fluke. We'll get a new section of pipe. There's another section of pipe from the other day. This is, let's see, Schedule M as well. Let's put this thing to the test. I've got to cut this off anyway because I do plan to save this copper, but let's try and cut off this piece right here that's got solder all over it. I don't know who did the solder job on this, but look at this, guys. He must have been cross-eyed, and it must have been a Friday evening. My goodness, freaking solder everywhere. Just absolutely murder show. I mean, it's sloppy. It's like 5 o'clock somewhere sloppy. Okay, so I got that decent clamp, and I mean, this is giving these guys the benefit of the doubt because you normally are not able to clamp on a pipe. You normally have to work with it in the space. So this is the best case scenario. We'll try and go on right here. Okay, we got it on. If you do have a whole bunch of solder, it's probably best to knock it off first, but I'm kind of just putting it through a torture test. Let's see, we started right about here as our 1 point. Okay, there's one pass. That's one. There's two. You might see me switching hands. It's because I hurt these fingers the other day and it hurts to keep pushing on them, so I'm trying to work it as much as I can without getting thrown off. There's three. Let's go for four. Okay. I mean, we almost made it to 4 passes, and look at that. Through solder. And there's quite a bit of solder on that end, and these are not good looking pipes. If you look inside, they got crap all through them, so it's impressive. I mean, this thing, guys, I don't even know what to say. There's no reason not to own these, in my opinion. All right, guys, you know, for your copper needs, I think that's a pretty conclusive test. These, they're great if you need them. If you've got some type of project where you can only have one tool available or a limited amount of tools and you have to cut a variety, it's gonna cut it. It's just gonna take 20, 25 plus passes to make it through Schedule M or Schedule L, probably not as many, but it's just not worth it, guys. I think for the same price, for your average do-it-yourself or weekend warrior like Matty Ice here, you guys know I'm not a pro. You got to go with these. 4 passes essentially to cut through the pipe. I was doing almost what 5-6 times the amount of passes with the other cutter, and I kept having to adjust it. There's no adjustment with this. You just turn and it's good to go. That's how easy it is. So I say pick yourself up a 1/2 inch and a 3/4, because those are the 2 common sizes here in the US, and have them available. You don't have to buy the Harbor Freight brand by any means, by any brand that you want to that's this style of slip-on and self-adjust. If you're a professional, maybe buy the really nice ones from like Milwaukee or somewhere else. But I think for your average person, investing $6 or $7 into each one of these is a good investment, especially if you're a homeowner like me and you're going to be working on some pipes. It makes sense. All right, guys, I'm going to say go on, get yourself a self-adjusting pipe cutter in 1/2 and 3/4 inch. Harbor Freight brand seems to work very well for me, so if you want to save some cash, by all means, you don't need the name brand. All right, guys, that does it for this one. We will catch you next time, and as always, have a good night.